Hello everyone and welcome back to the Fandoms podcast, your monthly home for discussion on games, TV, film and everything in between. As usual, we're your host Joe and the man who isn't afraid to stream PowerPoint presentation, Tom. That'll be me. How are we doing, Joe?
Tom, are you enjoying more 1 FPS games?
I love my technical difficulties on the streams. It's 10 out of 10.
Yeah, I've heard.
Jay loves them as well. Yes. I've decided, I said this on stream the other day, I said, I need a new scene where it's the please stand by technical difficulties screen. Jay also suggested the dog with the fire in the house. Everything's fine.
Yes! Yeah. Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah, there's that one as well. So I need anytime I've got a technical difficulty, I'm sorting it. That's going to be up.
Perfect.
I need to add that. Yeah. Tonight. No, we're not doing that today. We will be talking about November's gaming releases. And one topic today, because it's my month. Oh yes, I'm hijacking the entire podcast for Star Citizen.
I'll go, shall I?
No, you can stay. I want to talk to you about Star Citizen, man.
Yeah, alright, I'll stay. You listen to the Warhammer rants, I suppose I can stay for this one.
Yes, yours was spread over several podcasts. Mine is sort of in one. If we can fit everything in one, we will see. Yes. Joe, what have you been up to last month?
I have... Actually, I've not been up to much. I've been very busy. I've not had a lot of time to... Not had a lot of time to play games. What have I played? I've played a bit of Empire at War. We've been playing a lot of SnowRun recently. That's a lot of fun.
Stand by as he dies. Don't worry, it will just be me doing the podcast now.
If you want to cut that out, that's fine. I'm crying. Going back into it. Sorry, we'll leave it in. You can just watch me die for 5 minutes. I've also been playing some Helldivers. Played a couple of matches, got back into that, and then haven't played anymore. Apparently there's a new space station. I've been watching some Top Gear, and I'm gonna go back to dying.
Yeah, you really sound like you're gonna be dying. As for me, really, I've had one obsession of the last month, which is Black Ops 6 Zombies. May have already clocked over 100 hours in Zombies alone. It's very good, let's say. I have been playing other games. The one excuse for the last month that's dragged me away is SnowRunner with the boys, you know.
With the boys, yeah.
With the boys. Yeah, that's what I've been mainly playing. I haven't really been watching. I need to watch Arcane. That's what I need to watch, which is the little animated thing based on League of Legends. I said this, I think last. Did I? I don't know. I don't even know if we were doing the podcast when Arcane Season 1 came out. But I'm not a League of Legends player, but I love the animation because it's really, really good.
No, so I haven't seen Season 1, but I've heard really good things about Arcane.
So, yeah.
Again, I don't play League either, so totally new to me.
As someone that watched it when it came out a couple of years ago, I think it was. Season 2 is the last season of it. I think Riot want to do more stories of some other stuff, but
okay.
Yeah, it's really good. I want to rewatch Arcane Season 1 before doing Season 2 because it's been a while. So, yeah. I've also, obviously, I've been playing a bit of Star Citizen.
Oh, imagine my surprise.
I've been trying to play it today because I kept crashing. It turns out I need to increase my virtual memory. So that's now sorted. Anyway, for those people that are used to the podcast and are regulars, you'll know that I usually do the next bit. But we're going to break reality. Joe, would you like to go over the game releases for this month?
Yeah, I suppose, as I'm going to be silent for the next 2 hours. Not because Tom's going to talk, just to stop dying. Apparently, apparently
yeah.
I choke on air now. No, we'll go through the gaming releases. Let's go into it. So we'll start off on the 6th of November. Obviously, this is past by this point, but it's a bit of a roundup of what's happened this month. 6th of November, we had Planet Coaster 2. That came out on Xbox, PlayStation, and PC. Our friend Dan, who joins us on the streams, he is a big fan of Planet Coaster, so I know he was very excited about that one. Then on the 12th of November, we've got Farming Simulator 25 coming out on Xbox, PlayStation, PC, and Mac. Didn't realise that was coming on Mac, actually. That one's
I know, neither did I. No.
Not that games really tend to go for Mac.
No.
But
that one is.
Well done, Farming Simulator. Well done, bravo.
Inclusion.
I might pick that up at some point. I wasn't sure at first, but the more I see, the more I'm interested. So, yeah, that might be coming. On the 14th of November, we had Lego Horizon Adventures. That was coming on Switch, PlayStation, and PC. On the 19th of November, we have Flight Simulator 2024 on Xbox and PC. That's another one that I know Dan is looking forward to. He's probably going to try out. Are you thinking about that one, Tom?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I keep hopping either side of the fence on whether I'm going to pick that up or not. So we'll see. I might watch some stuff and see how I feel about it.
I'm sort of the same with Farming Sim. My last Farming Sim, by the way, was 17. A long time ago. But the problem is I don't play it that much, and yeah.
Well, you should get it, and we'll treat it as a Tuesday night trucking option. It's not technically trucking, but
I suppose there are trucks in it, kind of.
Tuesday night tractoring.
I mean, that works as well.
Yeah, it's close enough. We'll throw it in the list.
I mean, if we add it to the list of that for Tuesday night trucking, yeah, I'll invest in it.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll think about it. We'll see if Dan's got it anyway, but yeah, we'll see if it's one to give a go. Yeah, and then on the 20th of November, we got Stalker 2: Heart of Chernobyl. Tom, we don't have platforms for that one. Do we know what platforms that's coming on?
The very tired notes giver that has spent a very long time doing the notes for today's podcast forgot to do that. I'll do
a quick Google.
I wonder who that was. It will be coming out on Xbox and PC. I know that. One of my friends is interested in it.
Yeah, platforms are saying Xbox Series X and Series S and Windows, so it would be PC and Xbox from the looks of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll go with that. We'll fire the notes taker. We'll hire a new one.
Well,
that's it for our gaming releases. It's the other you. Don't warn him. That wraps up our gaming releases. There's only a few that we wanted to talk about this month, and I know Tom is chomping at the bit to get started on his Star Citizen. I say roundup, but play-by-play coverage. So, Tom, why don't you start us off? Where do you want to begin?
Yeah. Obviously, I like sharing this with people, and I like sharing this with you because I like to see your thoughts and your reactions, really, as well. I'm first going to start with an IAE reminder. By the time the podcast comes out, IAE would be in full-fledged. So IAE is the Interstellar Galactic Expo, where it's free fly. So everyone gets to do Star Citizen for free from the 22nd of November all the way to December 5th. And you get to test fly over 150 spaceships. This is the best time to test Star Citizen because all the ships are available. Usually when there's a free fly, CIG give you 2 or 3 starships in your little fleet in your terminal to test, but this you can test everything. And there's also usually ships that launch, including the RSI Polaris, which makes its debut. If you're watching on YouTube, I will put the event program up. Usually it has its own convention hall in-game, and you get to walk around the convention halls, and each day is a themed manufacturer, and you get to walk around the ships in there because they'll be on show, and you get to rent them and you can fly them out yourself. And then in the last couple of days with Best in Show, there will be all the terminals all around, and you can demo and test flight anything and can rent anything. So that's very cool. So obviously the Polaris is the Corvette RSI ship, the very big one that my friend David has. So he's excited to get that. I'm excited to be part of it. It's not really meant for a 2-man crew, but we'll make it work. If we can drag Tom on, that'll be good. Not me. I just know someone else called Tom.
Cloned himself.
Yeah.
I'm a willing pod.
Yes. Last year, Joe, I asked you...
Part of the ship, part of the crew, part of the ship, part of the crew. Sorry, Karen.
I asked last year on this very podcast, and you agreed that you'd be willing to come on the Polaris with us.
Yeah.
Are you still committed, despite your busy life schedule?
Well, Tom, I have a free weekend coming up, which is the start of our free-to-play bit. And then I'm sure I can make time the following weekend as well. So yes, I am.
Nice, good. I'm glad, because otherwise I would have pulled you up and said, actually, you agreed for it last year, and therefore you have agreed to it.
No, yes. I like big ships. I like space games with big ships where we can fly them. So yeah, part of the ship.
And you did say you wanted to sort of learn a bit more about Star Citizen as well.
Yeah, well, actually, it's funny because I was about to say, as you were saying about obviously the free to play test flying ships, blah blah blah. I was going to say, obviously you're going to be playing. You're willing to start teaching me kind of how to play, how to get to grips with things.
Yeah. Because
I've got a few ships. I've got a little bit of gear and stuff, and I've not really delved into. I think I said the same last year.
Yeah.
But I am interested to try and find out a little bit more about it, and I think it's one of those things. I just need someone to kind of. Yeah, give me a little bit of a hand on what I'm doing.
I know a while ago we did a small little session, but it didn't amount to much. But it was something, which was better than nothing, I suppose. Yeah, I suppose this is also a good and bad thing. The thing is, the servers are going to be a lot more loaded. So if you do join into Star Citizen, just bear that in mind, because existing pledgers are going to be wanting to go to the expo, but there's also going to be new players wanting to play on top of that. So servers might be in a bit of an overload. This was a feature that I discussed last year, but the server recovery has been in effect for a long time now. So it does an automatic recover. You might have to wait a few minutes, but it will recover itself if it does get itself into a tiz usually. So
I suppose with the increased player count as well, it works as a good stress test.
Yeah, they with the server meshing tech, they've sort of increased the capacity as well, and they're meant to be increasing it when 4.0 comes out, which is in testing at the moment, so it's not quite there. I think CIG want it out by end of year. So that's the new system of Pyro, the lawless system of Pyro and stuff like that.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah. The fancy new jump points and stuff like that, yeah. So that's in the sort of testing servers rather than the PTU. Well, that is the PTU, the persistent test universe. Yeah. Rather than live servers. Yeah. So just kind of an FYI that there might be more servers. But the server capacity for each server is 100 players at the moment. So that's quite a decent amount. Right. Now for the main event. CitizenCon 2954. Their annual sort of stuff, their open development. It's like any old convention. This year it was in Manchester. I could have gone, but because the tickets are 200 quid, I prefer to just watch the live streams from home.
Sorry, it's just a lot of money.
It is a lot of money. Oh. It is a lot of money. Yes. Now I'm going to start with one of the panels that was actually redacted on the day. We didn't know what was happening with this. So everyone was very, very like, oh, this is exciting. They've done a redacted. They haven't named this panel. No. Have you watched this, by the way, Joe?
No.
Squadron 42 gameplay reveal.
Oh.
Yes. Now, I'm not going to put you in suspense. We have a date. Yes. 2026 is the year. So we're a couple of years away from the... For those people that don't know, it is the single-player version of Star Citizen. It's the single-player cinematic campaign. There's been another... We know there's been Mark Strong and Gillian Anderson and Gary Oldman in there. They've added
Mark Hamill.
Mark Hamill. They've added somebody else. Joe, on our notes, I actually have that video. If you can start watching it, could you tell me exactly who that A-lister star is? Because you may recognise it. It's right at the start.
Okay, I'll turn the sound up a little bit. Bear with them. I'm starting it now. Just looks like a bunks.
Very
lovely.
Very interesting.
Combat pilot training. History. Lovely.
And there'll be a little character that pops up. And you may recognise his face. He's got a he's got a confused face. Speak to us, Joe.
I'm being put off by the voice. Is that our Nerd King?
It might be. Who you thinking it is?
The Lord and Saviour Henry Cavill.
That is correct. Henry Cavill is in Squadron 42.
The Nerd King arrives.
Oh, everyone went mad when that happened. It was great.
That does excite me. Me calling him the Nerd King gives it away. I love that man.
Yeah.
He is incredible, and he's also a major Warhammer player.
Yes, he is.
So yeah, that makes me very happy.
Yeah.
But it doesn't sound like him at all.
Yeah. Yeah. I recommend having a look at that. It's like a 90-minute demo or something.
Yeah.
For those people that watch it on YouTube, you get the good version. Because on stream, they did this as a live demo. And it crashed twice.
Oh.
And what the creative director did, straight after, he didn't go home, he went straight to the office, and he recorded it again and put it on YouTube.
Oh, nice.
Dedication. Yeah.
So he went, yeah, look, we messed that up, but I'll go and put...
Because there were some graphical glitches and stuff like
right.
that. But, yeah. But that just proves it was a live demo, doesn't it? Nothing was faked on there, and they love doing that. So, yeah. Well, even if you have 5 minutes, this thing's an hour 16, but it looks good, it's very cinematic. It shows off a lot of the alien stuff, and yeah, give it a watch. Highly recommend. Right, now let's go back from Squadron 42.
Saving that link for later.
To Star Citizen. Now, the panels that I'm going to go through, a lot of this is work in progress. A lot of this is probably a year or 2 years out, or even more. I'm going to be summarising stuff. I'm not going to go into the technical detail because they go into a lot of technical detail of how these things work. I like to call them, they like to show their working per se, because that's part of their open development stuff that they like to do. So if you are interested in one, I do recommend having a watch of these panels. Some of them are 30 minutes, some of them are 50 minutes, some of them are hour 20. But yeah, all the individual panels have been put on YouTube for you to watch, not as one long live stream, so they're a bit more easier to watch, I suppose. I'm not going to do them in order. I'm going to start with crafting your home, because they're going to be introducing crafting, and this offers progression and professions with resource gathering, and this directly integrates something that they teased a few times over the last couple of Citizen Cons, which is base building, which I think is going to completely change how Star Citizen works. So crafting will expand on what we currently have and add more. So we have things like hunting and harvesting, salvaging and mining. I think you have a mining ship, don't you? Do you have a prospector?
No.
Oh, is it freelancer?
No. Yeah, I think it's the freelancer that I've got.
Yeah. And with this, they're going to introduce new materials. So they're going to add refining to all raw materials. Currently, it's just for mining. So the current flow is you material gather, you refine it, and then you sell it for profit. But then the future flow is you gather, you refine, you sell, or you craft, like improved gear, and for base building. But it can go one step further. You can then trade with NPCs and other players once you've crafted something. But what can you craft? Armor, weapons, vehicles, and ships.
Oh.
The whole shebang. And crafting can be something better that you can buy in a shop. Now, how does all this work? You've got something.
Sorry,
what is it?
Yeah, I was going to say, this does interest me because one of the things I know, obviously, from my toe dipping into Star Citizen is that you have these player organisations that you can build.
Yeah.
With the base building and being able to craft vehicles and ships especially, I can see you having a themed player organisations, make yourself some kind of fleet, and then you can make the ships that the people in your organisation fly.
Yeah.
So you can all fly at uniform as some kind of paramilitary group or whatever.
Yeah.
You create all the ships, everyone has the same gear, everyone works together. I'm assuming you can make this improved gear for everyone then as well. So you can obviously trade it around to your new players. I really like that because that adds more into the community element of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny you say
that's really cool.
When we get to the last topic, if we do today, I might, depending on how much time we have, but I do want to talk about what I was going to talk about last. Probably, definitely, that sort of organisation stuff, and is going to be very interesting on what I talk about later.
Okay.
But we'll see if we can get to that. So, for this crafting, you need blueprints, and this is acquired by reputation rewards. So basically, missions that you get a reward from. You can buy them, or you can loot them, and you can upgrade these blueprints via research. And going back to these materials will have a quality. How good is it? And the qualities follow through the refining process. So if you find a raw material, let's say copper, that's high quality, once it's refined, it will keep that high quality status, basically. Obviously, high quality is more desirable, but it's going to be a lot more rare to find. So they're sort of encouraging people to do a bit more exploring to see if they can find areas or aspects where they can get some more high quality stuff. But there are still uses for low quality materials, so don't just get rid of it. It's still useful, no matter what it is.
Yeah.
And the quality is based on a rule-based system that they talked about in one of the planet's planet panels, which I'll get to later. But it's a more realistic element of how they're putting planets together. So realistic rules of where materials would actually naturally be, basically.
Okay.
And all this quality affects item stats. And most crafting blueprints will need more than one material to craft that item. So if you're trying to build a gun, you're going to need probably a couple of sort of metals, aren't you, and things like that to put it together. And researching fabrication blueprints means you can upgrade to a high tier with improved base stats. And if you're watching on YouTube, I do recommend more watching this podcast on YouTube more than the Spotify. I don't like pushing one platform, but I'm going to put a lot of stuff to show you what it is.
Stuff in the background to see.
Yeah, because it's more of a show. It's better to show you what I mean. But there's a crafting tiers sort of difference of spooling the drive and recoil and stuff like that, where a higher tier is a lot better. So a higher tier can spool the drive to jump a lot quicker, which you might be watching right now, Joe.
I'm seeing it.
Yeah. So most items will have tiers 1 to 3. 1 being the base, 3 being the best. But vehicles will go all the way up to tier 5. And this can be applied to anything like a Volt pistol, and they love putting a bit of humour in these, as well as a hot dog, as well. It can improve stats of a hot dog. There you go.
Okay.
Because you could craft a hot dog, or I suppose in this case it's cooking a hot dog. But yes.
Yeah.
It's still under the bracket of crafting. And you can also upgrade current vehicles to higher tiers, which means pledge ships that you've bought, not just crafted ships. So if you already have a ship, you can upgrade it to a higher tier. But how does all that crafting process come together? So you would acquire the blueprints first. Now these are digital elements, so once you've collected them, it's added to your personal library and is persistent to your character. Because remember, Star Citizen eventually will have this multiple character things because of death of a spaceman and stuff like that. I'm not going to go into that because it's a whole different topic, is death of a spaceman. But yeah. Then you need to research. It requires a research data bank which can upgrade blueprints. And there are requirements for an upgraded blueprint. For example, if you wanted to upgrade a Volt pistol, you may need to craft a certain amount of Volt pistols, tongue twister there, and craft a Volt pistol with over, I don't know, 1100 fire rate. That's the example that they gave. And then you need to find those resources. So each blueprint is different and you may need to use numerous professions in order to get it. So you might need to do some salvaging and mining, for example. And then you refine those resources, and this requires the refinement blueprints. And then there's the item fabrication. So you'll need a relevant crafting machine to create anything you want, including ship components as well. And there are different types of fabrication machines, like communal or player-owned, which can be in player hangars, vehicles, and bases. So it's not just for base building, it's for everything. And these machines also have tiers. Now overall, they're aiming to have over 1,000 blueprints. That's a lot of them. That's a lot. And you can specialize in crafting in an area that's more efficient, like being just a ship crafter, or a weapon crafter, or a ship component crafter. And this opens its collaboration with others, particularly if you're a ship component crafter, you can then sell that to a ship crafter, because they're going to need those to build their ships.
Yeah.
But this entire thing impacts the entire game economy, player-to-player trading, and long-term progression. And being a crafter can be another gameplay loop and profession, but you may not want to be one. But you could be one. But you might need one, because you might need something. You might need a component, or it might be better to get it from a crafter than buying it from the NPC vendor. And most importantly of all, crafting is the foundation of base building. So, talking of base building, this is where this comes nice segued over to. So you need resources, obviously, and a construction grav cart. And this grav cart allows you to survey the lands, claim the land in a lawful system, and build structures. If it's a lawless system, you don't need to claim the lands because it's lawless. The grav cart is one of 4 devices that can be used for base building, and the grav cart can be used to make small structures. And it's been designed to fit into small ships like the Drake Cutter. So starter ships, it can fit in any one of those basically. And when surveying, the drone UI will tell you where and where you can't settle, as well as where there is resources in the ground with quality and quantity values. And there's actually a physical drone, so a survey drone gets physically deployed and is controllable with an augmented V from the air. And for the demonstration, it was instant, was all the building, but it would actually take time to build. And you were going to say something.
Sorry, I had a thought.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I just you said that the drone is physical. So does that mean that if you try to plop a base down in, say, a hostile area, or let's say there's some griefers around, they could shoot your drone down?
I suppose they could. It wasn't really covered, I suppose, but...
Why not? I suppose they didn't want to put it into griefers' minds, but...
Yeah.
Oh, hey griefers, here's another thing you can do to annoy all the other players around you. No, they're not going to do that, but it's the thought comes to my head. If there's a physical object, the drone actually goes up, which is a really cool idea, and it, rather than being, oh, here's your magic floating camera, it makes sense. But if you're in an area and someone's hiding, they go, yeah, look, I'm going to mess with this person, try to build their base. What, am I going to have to replace the drone or something? Like, what?
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question. But we can always speculate.
I did this last year. I come up with the difficult questions. It's what my brain does.
Maybe you should you should do on a Q&A to CIG. See if you can break them. All right, I'll make a note.
Yeah.
as well as a survey drone, there's also construction drones, which are deployed to make your structure themselves as well. And each one can make one structure each simultaneously. Now, every building needs power, so you need to build that as well. And then all the power stations and buildings need to be connected together. So they sort of showed that in the sort of first sort of video of them doing all of that. Now, when something's built, it's empty, which means you need to fill the space for what you need. And you can fill it with furniture, which can be bought, found, or crafted. It's funny, when they said this, when they said it can be bought, found, or crafted, I can imagine everybody with their tractor beam guns nicking a bunch of stuff all over the verse. Oh yeah, here's I like that table. I'm taking that table.
Mine.
Oh, that's a nice looking sofa. I'm gonna nick that, and I'm gonna take that with me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Furniture can be moved and placed with the decoration AR, which is as a hologram. And you can mag lock into place so you and your friends can rearrange the things, but anybody else can't lift them. So that's sort of an anti-griefer sort of thing where you mag lock stuff into place.
Good.
And what the cool thing is that decoration AR is not exclusive to base building. It'll be available for player bases, personal hangars, and ships, because personal hangars are now in the game. Again, they used to be a thing a long time ago.
I was going to say, I've got a couple of those. Does that mean I can finally make use of them?
Yeah, and it's got its own freight elevator in it, and it's quite cool. And you can decorate it in as well. So
Perfect.
this isn't actually in the game yet. It's just, obviously they're showing this off for base building.
Yeah.
It's also applicable for this when they eventually put this decoration AR in. And obviously the crafting process is just like the same with everything else I mentioned earlier. Buildings also have upgrade tiers as well, 1 to 3. Now they showed us something quite small, something maybe a home and whatever, right? Whatever you purpose it as. But what if it's a bit more industrial scale? I know you like your big things, Joe. So
Yes, I do.
industrial scale. You'll need something like a construction hub, which has 4 drones which can make small, medium, and large structures. And you can build extractors for all resources. There are solid, liquid, and gas. What they demonstrated was solid. As well as refineries for those resources. And they'll get extracted into refined goods. And they're also introducing freight elevator network. So we're already familiar with freight elevators. But these networks can be linked together to share the same storage. So if you place an item in freight elevator A, you can then retrieve it on freight elevator B. There's a difference limit, but you can daisy chain them together. So you can sort of negate that. And it also needs to be contained in the same base. You can also build hangars, which is cool as well. So you can build your own hangar and you can just fly in. Boom. Another thing you can build is a fabrication hangar. This thing is big. This thing builds ships. And you're dying to say something.
That's the one I want. I want that. I want to be making all of the ships.
Yeah. Now, the small building was demonstrated can be done in a single play session. The industrial buildings will take longer over numerous play sessions. So even if you do just do one session a week, let's say, you can still get a small base or a home or something like that done. But over time, you can obviously grow your base a little bit bigger as time goes on. And there will be permissions for other players as well, so they can construct their own things on the base, including existing structures. And there are also going to be org permissions as well. So anybody in your org can sort of do that as well. And you can also place foundation decals and customization like paints and apply them to buildings, which are all earnable, by the way. So you can put your all colours and stuff, I think, on them if you wanted to.
Yeah. Sorry, I have another question. A lot of this is very, like, the small bases feel like they're a little bit more exploration focused, or setting up a little outpost somewhere.
Yeah, you could have a cabin in the woods if you wanted to. Put all your
yeah.
The
industrial base is kind of as in the name. It's
a lot bigger.
It's more based around an industry kind of scenario. But have they said anything about or hinted at anything that might suggest that you can build a pseudo military base?
Well, I'll get to that next, actually.
I'm getting ahead of you. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah.
I'll wind my neck in.
In the next couple of points that I have. Yeah. So what's also cool is these crafting items can be sold to other players. So you can set up your own shops. Right? Your own physical item shops. You know the NPC vendors that you go in, you buy armor or you buy ships from? You can make your own. Just like the vendors that we are already used to existing. So if you want to become a ship crafter and sell your own ships to other players, you can do that. Now what's also cool, this can be done via a terminal like we are used to as players, right? But these can also be physical items. So they mentioned that they can be mag-locked down, but as soon as someone purchases it, it unmag-locks them for them and they can grab it off the shelf.
Oh, okay.
Just like we would in real life, except nothing's mag-locked. But you know what I mean. Yeah.
It's like going to the Amazon pickup location and the locker are opening up for you.
Yeah, and this will all be linked to one of the freight elevators. So that's what it will be sort of linked to and stuff like that. That's more the terminal-based one rather than the physical one. So it's
like Argos.
Yeah.
You place your order and it delivers it to you.
Yeah. They didn't say much about this. This was an early concept, but they also mentioned about that you can do some farming and ranching as well. So if you wanted to do some plant-based stuff or some animal-based stuff, you can do that as well.
Space farming simulator.
Yeah, who would have thought? Now, this is the next part. You can also build things like roads and defense aspects like turrets and walls. So, yes, you could theoretically make a military base. You could just make a general base. You can make it whatever you want, and it can be armoured up to its teeth with turrets and walls and stuff like that.
It just... Yeah. I suppose the reason it came up in my head is, again, I think about some of the organisations that I've seen and some of the things that I've heard of people talking about wanting to build and create.
Yeah.
And like people want to create their own fleet and their own paramilitary group. So I can see them wanting to have a base of operations. They find a planet that they like and they want to build some massive fortress as their HQ almost. You know, they've got all these military ships lined up outside and everything. People are going to want to build their military base. So it kind of plays into that aspect, and I can see that being quite cool to come across.
Yeah, obviously one of the clips I'm going to put on is a sort of base building cinematic that they showed right at the end of the panel, which sort of shows that sort of thing.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah, so, you know, they showed it sort of equipped with some of the vehicles, so there were some of the Nova tanks hanging around, and there's all the sort of walls and the defense turrets being there, which is really cool. Yeah, so you can sort of do what you want, because their sort of aim with this is, the designers have built these handcrafted locations for you, but now it's your turn to build something. Which I really love, and that sort of concluded the crafting, the building your home sort of stuff, which was really cool. Next, I want to talk about Captains of Industry, which is all about the ships. And this actually linked into... Now, there's a reason why I talked about crafting and base building first, because this is to do with building with vehicles. There are some other vehicles and ships in here. But so far, we've seen some small stuff, right? And we're going to keep them small, and we're going to gradually, size ourselves up. They introduced the Argo CSV family. So there's the CSV FM, which has 2 medium drones for construction. 4 SCU internal storage for construction materials only. It's not a general cargo grid, is this. This has 1 size 0 shield, similar, and this thing is a similar size to a Tumbril Cyclone. And this is going to be delivered alongside base building. Now, the other one is the CSV SM. It's 4 SCU external cargo grids, so you can have a 4x1 SCU or a 2x2 SCU or a 1x4 SCU crate. Again, it's got 1 size 0 shield generator, and this goes roughly 28 meters per second for its top speed. And that's available now. You can grab that. It's basically a little pickup truck, but space. It's a ground vehicle, but yeah, you can whack that in the back of a... It's relatively small, as I said. It's the size of a tumbril cyclone, so... yeah, so that's quite cool for getting all your cargo stuff around. And then they announced a new MISC, sort of medium-sized ship, the Starlancer family. And one of these is launching at IAE, so one of these will be available as of right now. When they do the MISC, you'll probably be able to rent it as well and try it out. First of all is the Blood, the BLD, or also known as the Build. Can you guess what it does, Joe?
I think it's for destroying things.
Oh, okay. No, not this one. Not this one.
No?
This one's for building stuff. Yeah.
Oh, okay. But it's not bomber location disposal.
No.
Oh, okay. All right. Got it wrong.
I see what you did there with BLD. Right.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So this has drone bays on each side and a drone resupply with a drone control room. It has 4 large construction drones, and this thing is 83 meters by 52 meters by 60 meters. So it's not small. This has 2 size 2 power plants, 1 size 3 shield generator, and it has pilot controlled 2 size 4 guns and 16 size 3 missiles, with 2 remote turrets with 2 size 4 guns.
Sorry, 16 missiles?
This is a build ship, by the way, yes.
What was it for? Clearing the mountain in your way?
And they're size 3 missiles.
Sorry, clearing the continent in your way? My God.
And this has cargo capacity, I can word, of 128 SCU.
You know, so those 4 large construction drones, that's going to be something you need to build some of these larger industrial structures, right?
Yeah, like the
I
construction.
want one of these.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want one of these things. I want the ship fabricator, that's what I want.
Yeah. And then we have the TAC for tactical. This is the big boy ship if you want to destroy stuff. So this thing comes with drop seat. I can't speak today. Drop seats with deployable ramp. It's also got its own onboard medical facility with 2 tier 3 medical beds. It's also got its own small hangar designed for the Fury. Now the Fury is Star Citizen's TIE fighter. Because I assume you don't know what a Mirai Fury is by the name.
We've definitely talked about it before.
We've talked about it, but to put it in perspective, it is Star Citizen's TIE fighter. Yeah. This also has an engineering area, obviously, and it has a HABS area. And this has 2 additional size 5 manned turrets on each side, in addition. And instead it has 2 size 3 shield generators and has 96 SCU of cargo capacity as well.
Okay.
Then we have the Max. This is the big freighter that's coming at IAE. The TAC is coming later, and obviously the build is coming with base building. So this has 224 SCU of cargo, 120 SCU on the ventral drop platform, and 96 SCU in the rear ramp area, and has 6 extra VTOL thrusters. Now what I mean by the ventral drop platform, in the center it has a platform that drops downwards, which means there's no ramp or anything like that. It's a lot easier to do. But what's really neat about this design is there's a central corridor above this. One of the floors of the Caterpillar, which is a really big freight ship, which I've shown you before, is when it's filled up, you can't move through the cargo area. You have to go to another route to the cockpit.
Alright, yeah.
Any chance I get, I always run the Caterpillar. So, you know, I may not own the thing, but I know a bit about it. This prevents this. So if your cargo's full, you've still got this sort of corridor overhang platform that you can still navigate your ship with. Which, that sort of drops, and you'll still be there, but you'll be hanging with a bit of a drop. Not that much of a drop, but yeah. So that's cool. And they showed a lot of stuff about the Max. There was a top-down cutaway and some cinematics, which is really cool, which I'll put up on screen for those people watching on YouTube. and that's the sort of newer ships. But what if we wanted to go bigger, Joe? The Pioneer has had a rework. Now, I've been in Star Citizen for quite a while, and I haven't really touched on this ship. I haven't really known too much about it because it's not really interested in me. But the Pioneer is a building ship. It's specifically made for building, and they've done a redesigned concept for this. And this is a base building ship that does small ships and vehicles. And they've basically done this rework in order to support base building mechanics. The way that they were going to do base building before has drastically changed. So they've had to update this with the new base building mechanics. So it has some onboard facilities and it sort of acts as a self-sustained mobile base. So it's got a med bay, it's got a crafting area, it's got a refine area, and it's got an extractor. So it's got everything you need in one big ship. And this thing has 1,000 SCU cargo. 1,000.
Whoa,
I've never seen that number in any ship before, up to this point. It's always been the hundreds. And this thing has its own hangar to fly out, or a ramp. So you could build a ship in there and you can fly it out. Or you can build a ground vehicle and you can drive it out. Which is really cool.
That's cool.
This has 4 extra large drones for XL structures. Yes, you heard me right. We've gone up to large. What you've seen so far in some of the clips, Joe, have been large structures. This thing can do extra large structures.
Have they revealed any extra large structures yet?
I don't think so. We've just sort of seen large stuff, yeah.
So that's a tease that more's coming.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Yeah, and this also thing has a landing pad as well. As well as the hangar, you've got a landing pad. So if you wanted to visit your friend who's base building, you can land on its landing pad. This thing is 247 meters by 133 meters by 53 meters. It is a big boy. But here's the really cool thing. You know, I said it had extractors, right? It's integrated into the landing gear, which I think is really cool. So you can land on whatever you need to extract on, and it will. You don't need to go anything. You don't need to set anything up. You can just start extracting, which is very.
So
cool.
you know there's resources on this point. You land, deploy your drills, and then take off.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
You can. Well, not necessarily take off. When I mean integrated, it is the landing gear as well. It acts as 2 things. So you could extract and then refine with the refinery area, then craft it. Yeah. And this thing has capital components.
I hope so.
However, this thing will not be available day 1 of base building, but they said that they will start production on it a week after CitizenCon. Now, CitizenCon was last month. Last week, honestly. So they've definitely started it. They also did a bit of a top down and a bit of a fly through the ship of what they have at the moment, which is really cool. So you can sort of see the scale of what that thing is, and see what it is. What do you think about this, Joe? The design, the everything about it.
I think it's really cool as a concept. Whenever I play a space game, I always want to fly the capital class ships. Yeah. I don't know why. Big ship is fun. That's just how my brain works. But this is big ship, but also the buildy stuff that I like the idea of. I like the idea of being able to create my own spaceships. Yeah. You know, not that I've got to go land somewhere and then I can buy the spaceship that I want to fly. Yeah. No, I can fly this wherever I want to go. I can grab all the resources I need. Maybe I need to go and buy some of them, that's fine. But then I can go and create my ships on my big ship.
Yeah.
I like that. I really like that as a concept. And I don't think we've seen a game that allows us to do that before.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that I always liked about what they were kind of aiming towards when Star Citizen was obviously first announced.
Yeah.
Many years ago.
Yeah.
But no, I really like the concept. I like the idea of being able to make not just my own ships, but vehicles as well, and being able to deploy them from my big capital ship. Yeah, fun.
Yeah. On that point, it sort of goes back to, you might have reservations about people's opinions on Star Citizen, but I think what they showcase, particularly at CitizenCon, is very, very technical. Because they show you they're working, it's sort of that. Yes, you might have criticisms of Star Citizen, but you must admit that technically, and with the talent that they have, they do stuff incredibly well, incredibly detailed, and no other games company goes anywhere near it because nothing can compete with it.
Yeah, no, I think I probably said something very similar last year, but for me, it's very much when they deliver stuff, then I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
But they've promised a lot, and there's a lot they still haven't delivered on.
Yeah.
And I think that's my problem, my concern. I don't know what the right word is really, but that's why I'm a little bit like with it all. But no, once they start delivering the things that they've promised on, then I'm like, okay, I like this. I need to see it happening now. That's kind of where I am.
It's just also when they showcase something as that, it's like, oh my god, that's really, really cool. And that was me a lot of the time through the entire of these panels. Was, oh my god, that's really cool, that's really clever. Obviously, it's not the same as it being physically in game, but we know it's possible even with their demos and how they show things.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just really like what they do almost constantly, because they almost do that wow factor. Wow. Right. Once they did the reconcept, they did the El Clasico, the ship silhouette. Now, they reviewed last year's, and they said that from last year they've delivered 6 out of 10 so far. All but one will be released before the end of the year. So far they've released the Mariah Pulse, which is the little hover bike.
I like them.
Then
I do want to get one.
Then they did, yeah, it's relatively cheap actually. It's 30 quid to get one of those. Relatively expensive, but in Star Citizen that's fairly cheap. Origin X1. This is another ground hover vehicle, a bit more enclosed. Then they introduced the Medivac version of what we already have of the Ursa. The RSI Ursa rover sort of thing, but the medical version. Then the Argo MPUV-1T, and this is sort of to do with cargo and transporting it and stuff like that. It's got a tractor beam and so it's sort of a pickup and slot somewhere. There's also the Crusader Intrepid and the Mirai Guardian. Now these two we haven't yet to be seen, because the Crusader Intrepid is coming IAE, apparently. We've seen some stuff about it. It is a Crusader's starter ship. We haven't had a starter ship from Crusader yet, so this is their starter ship. Then we have, look at that beauty, the RSI Zeus. I may or may not have one of these. It's very nice. I love my new ship. It's great.
May not.
May not. Nah. It is a beautiful.
That was a lie.
It is a beautiful looking new ship. I have, of course, the Clipper, so I've got the cargo version.
Okay.
Yeah. I was flying it yesterday actually. Time of recording, obviously, but yeah. With my 2 friends, and very fun. Because you've now got to load your cargo manually now. By the way, Joe. No more instant. You've got to manually load it. That's why you've got a freight elevator in your hangars now.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's kind of fun with tractor beams and stuff. Then we have the Aegis Retaliator, so they delivered that. Then the RSI Polaris, as we know about, that's going to be delivered at IAE. The one that is missing, that's going to be next year now, is the Anvil Legionnaire. I think that's a boarding ship, as far as I remember. It's the boarding ship. Yeah.
That was going to be my question.
And during all of this, they also teased what's coming to IAE. So they've majoritarily shown the Polaris, but there's little bits where now I've seen like the Crusader Intrepid and stuff like that. I can be like, yeah, I can see that now in this IAE teaser. So yeah, they sort of did that. And then after they showed that, they showed off this year's ship silhouette. So they're not going to tell us what they are. They're just going to show us the ship silhouettes that they're going to be doing in the next 12 months. And there are some definitely interesting looking silhouettes in there, which means we've got some guesswork to do over the next year, which is always quite cool to do. Yeah. I'm interested in what the Mirai Guardian's going to be that's going to be delivered at some point this year as well, because obviously Mirai so far have delivered the Fury. It might be another variant, or it might be something different. We don't know. Yeah. So that is all the ship stuff. Beyond Pyro is what I'm going to talk about next. Because obviously 4.0 delivers a brand new system of Pyro, lawless system. But what about another system, Joe? Let me introduce you to the Nyx system.
Okay.
Because Nyx is next. Yes, the small little creature from Star Wars Outlaws has its own system. Can you believe it? It's not spelled the same, actually. The Nyx system is spelled NYX. Nyx is spelled NIX. But hey, the reference is there, right? This is basically on an asteroid belt, really. So this has a sprawling black dust cloud, which does interfere with scanners. And this borders Vandal space, so you might have some Vandal pirates lurking there. And this has a small community on an asteroid between Nyx 1 and Nyx 2, and this is called Delamar. And this is a 0G location, so that's completely different from what we have thus far. Now, Delamar, what year did you pledge, Joe, out of interest?
Oh,
at the top of your head?
Many years ago. I can go and find out if you would like me to.
Mine was 2016. Now, you would have thought with that date, I would have been able to remember Delamar. Because Delamar was temporarily placed as a stand-in for Crusader in the Stanton system with Alpha 3.0, but was later removed with Alpha 3.12.1 as completion of Orison was nearly completed. So this was actually introduced in December 2017 and was removed in February 2021. I obviously didn't... I was very on and off with Star Citizen, I think, back then, and I don't think I visited this area. But when this was announced, a lot of people were cheering and stuff, thinking they know what this place was. And obviously, Levski is returning with this as well. I don't remember this, but a lot of other people do. But to be fair, 2016 was a completely different Star Citizen. R.I.P. Port Olisar. You will be missed, my dear space station. Anyway. Yes, I am salty about them removing Port Olisar. They removed my home. Anyway. Because that's where everybody spawned, by the way. There wasn't this planet sort of thing. Everyone spawned in Port Olisar. So to me... Yeah,
I do vaguely remember that.
So it was the ringed... They replaced... What did they replaced it with Seraphim Station, which does have rings as well. It sort of references Port Olisar a little bit, but... Yeah... Anyway, Levski. Levski is an old mining facility that was abandoned. It's got an internal network of tunnels and mine shafts. And it's home of the People Alliance. And it has been updated for the game today.
I finally got myself logged in.
Oh, yeah.
I originally pledged September 27th, 2013.
Oh, wow. Even before me.
Yeah, I'm sure you were shocked by this last year as well. But
yeah, probably. Yeah. Yeah.
So long ago.
Trying to get you in game and get used to those extra years, lost years, right?
Yeah, I've got 3 ships that I just have never used. I've just been sitting there collecting dust, like.
Yeah. Yeah, so there was integration of hangars in the borehole with more hangars, and this borehole goes all the way through the asteroid, so it can be flown through, which I thought was really cool to look at as well. There's docking services. There's a gravity area around the main entrance. There's open landing pads as well, which also has access to. There's also access to gameplay areas as well, and freight elevators as well, but not just freight elevators, external freight. So there will be an external 0G freight elevator, which I thought looked very cool when they showed off the little cinematic for this. I thought, oh my god, that's really cool. And this is going to be priority for whole series ships. Are you familiar with the whole series, Joe? Do you know what I'm talking about when I say the whole series?
Yeah, these are the cargo ships that gradually get larger and just have crates basically strapped to the outside, right?
Yeah. So that's So you can see why this area would have priority for whole series.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the same is actually coming to space stations in Stanton and Pyro, but they sort of teased it with the new Nix system. And these freight elevators will also have direct access to the cargo decks this time. And they've also updated the interior and the layout as well, which is very cool. They then took us back to Stanton, and they wanted to touch on ArcCorp, because they're going to be adding gameplay at landing zones, with additional districts which are gameplay focused, which will interweave, should I say, in the landing zone, but will be independent. So they're introducing the Munitional Works, which is going to be an open world sandbox, has a sewer network, space for local missions, and provide access points to what they call the depths, which is the lower Munitional Work. So there are several instance levels, like the instance hangars, which is something they don't do very often, instance levels, which will be a separate area for you and your group only, nobody else. And these are going to be tailored missions with combat, exploration, and puzzle gameplay. And then there'll be a loop. Once completed, you'll then be upgraded downwards to another new level. So this is in the depths. So imagine, I don't know, the lower depths of Coruscant, where all the bad people are.
Oh yeah.
It's sort of going down and down and down, sort of thing.
Yeah. Okay.
So you'll do this same mission again and again and again until you meet the requirements, and then you'll be upgraded downwards to a new level with new content, and you repeat that and that again and again, and then you'll be upgraded down again. So it's progression based content. It's an extra piece of content. So that's quite cool and a bit different to what they've done before. So I like that. Something else to do in ArcCorp, because they did say the ArcCorp, particularly the landing areas, is the one that doesn't have as much content as everywhere else.
Right.
So they're sort of adding more stuff. So Joe, they have added, at the moment we have got the standard system, we've got the Pyro system, they've introduced the Nix system, but what about another system? Yes. Castra system is what they unveiled next. So you've got Castra 1. This is a dead, coreless planet because it's too close to the sun. And this is used by the UEE for target practice, which is why they've called it and nicknamed it Bullseye. So there's a bunch of craters in the surface and stuff like that from all the UEE naval ships just launching attacks and practicing
just
bomb strikes and just, shelling it. Yeah. The ground is toxic, so if you want to explore that, you'll need a high-end environment suit as well.
Okay.
And then you've got Castra 2, also known as Cascom. And this is a location of a military staging area. They did a whole history lesson between... There was basically a Cold War, and this was on what was called the Perry Line. And just in case a big war was about to break out, this was a military staging area. But since it's been decommissioned, it's become a centre of trade and tourism because they are introducing Sherman. And if you watch that cinematic, it is, I think, incredible with what they've done with this sort of island in the sky. This is in pre-production, by the way, and I think the quality of what they've done so far, particularly the cinematic team, makes it look really, really good and really cool. So this has actually been converted from a military base. So you'll be able to see the decommissioned sort of turrets and stuff like that, and they also showed some sort of pre-concept stuff as well. And I just think this is going to be my new home. When they introduce this is going to be my home, man. Because I don't know if you've got to it yet, but
I'm just watching the video at the moment. I'm trying to skip through to obviously catch more of it quicker, but
yeah, it's very, very cool. There's still UEE ships, I think, still in there and still sort of active, because I think there's some hangars in there as well, so you'll be able to see that as well. But
okay.
Yeah, they've sort of converted this entire military base into something that we'd normally have in like ArcCorp or Crusader or something like that. So it's going to be a landing zone and what we have at the moment. So it's going to be a player area that you can probably spawn at and be your home, basically. And I just think
it does look quite cool.
Yeah,
I can't lie.
Yeah.
Oh, watching the big ship flying in.
Yeah.
That's quite cool. I like that. I do like that.
Yeah.
I see what you mean now. I could be.
That is a long way away. That's in pre-production, but yeah, that's something to look forward to.
I could quite happily base out of there as well.
Yeah.
Actually, that's very cool.
Yeah. And that's kind of it with Beyond Pyro. Next is Dress to Kill. So this is more of armor and clothing. So there's going to be specializations for your clothing and your armor. You decide what you want to do first, mixing clothing and armor, right? So you can mix, you can have just armor on your skin if you wanted to, or just clothing and just do that sort of stuff. They love naming their stuff with the same thing with star at the start, so they've called this Starwear. Yes. They like to be funny, so obviously they had a video of all the characters dancing and whatever with some of the preview stuff that you could wear. Yeah. But as I said, this is they're going to be specializing clothing, which I think is long overdue, to be honest. So what I'm going to go through is not an exhaustive list, but it's something, and they did a cinematic for all these sort of specializations. So first of all, you have the leader. The way they presented these cinematics was so goofy. So the leader can holster primary and secondary weapons. They can access weapon restricted areas, which will be a thing at some point. But will have the ability to conceal, and there's no penalties to flight. So there's sort of a grid thing. So the leader sort of has low protection, high mobility, medium stealth, and no EVA capability or anything like that. But obviously, what they're trying to do is restrict certain things. You can do everything, but you can do one particular action better than others, like with a flight suit or something, which is what I get on to next, which is the pilot or the driver. So this has a pilot visor, and this links with their ship, so you can cast all your MFDs to your visor. There's no penalties to flight, but with more G-force resistance. So obviously this has low protection, it's got good mobility, not very good stealth, not very good active scan, but G-force is good, as well as the EVA mobility as well.
Okay.
So this is obviously best for pilots. But then there's a variant of this, which is the driver, which has unmatched G-force resistance with oxygen and thermal protection, because if you're racing, you'll probably want that on not so nice planets. This has no protection at all, obviously. Great mobility, not so great stealth, great G-force. Yeah, so if that's the profession that you want to go through, then there's that. Then we had a look at the tracker and the tank. So this has the most powerful active scan for locating targets. Its protection stability is compromised for greater mobility. And then you've got the tank, which is unparalleled coverage for and has damage mitigation as well. It's the strongest resistance to flinch, stagger, and knockdowns. And here's a little full suit perk. If the player is wearing a full set of heavy combat armor, they will not be able to knock down by small arms fire. You can literally be a tank.
Yeah.
So, obviously, you're going to be moving very slowly, but you're well protected. Then we've got the sniper and that friend, which is the goofy, funny one that they put at the end. So the sniper is undetectable on active scans, but that's, again, a full suit perk, so you need the entire suit for that. And this has high mobility with a light suit. Obviously, you've got that, probably the flight suit sort of capability as well. And then you've got the goofy one, that friend. You know, that friend that just has no fashion sense at all and just whatever he wants. They love putting a bit of humour in. Now, you've seen the image, haven't you? Have you watched the intro? Have you seen the intro video for it?
Yeah, I watched him firing the Nerf gun.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. They love putting a bit of humour in. So you've got a crew assembled. Now you need a challenge. So we've been taken to the Pyro system. To Monarchs. Now the thumbnail of this video spoils it, unfortunately, Joe. But I wanted to see your thoughts on this. Because may I present the Sandworm in Star Citizen.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought you said Pyro, not Arrakis. I didn't realise we travelled to June.
Oh, yes. This thing is gigantic. And it is magnificent.
Are we mining for spice now? Is that what's happening?
No. This thing's called the Valka with 2 Ks. This thing is 300 meters long. It's not a small boy. You're gonna need to disturb the ground with ground vehicles in order to attract it, and then you're gonna have to shoot it down. Now, the funny thing is, when they did the presentation of this, they said, here are the stats. The stats are so big it doesn't fit on the screen. Yes. This thing has congealed sand projectiles, so the sand that it's in, it will scoop it up and it will spit it at you. It's got a slam, it's got a bite, it's got a swipe, and it submerges after taking damage. And one of the cool things of how they're presenting the HP is not with a HP bar, but with how its skin is. The skin looks more damaged and more brown and crusty as it goes along. So that sort of demonstrates how far it is to the player till it's going to be dead, basically.
Yeah.
But there's a point to this. Obviously, people in Star Citizen love killing stuff, right? And you want to kill a big sandworm, right? So you could do that.
Sure.
But also, this has precious pearls, which you will need the Mineable tool to grab. There's also the teeth, which you'll need the tractor beam to extract. And when it dies, it keeps its collision. So you can climb on it, you can stand on it, you can do all that. But how big is it? Do you know how big an Idris is, Joe?
I mean, I don't, but I know they're quite large.
They're quite large. As you might be able to see by the screenshot, which I'll put up on YouTube, it makes the Idris look small, doesn't it?
Stand by. I will scroll down. Oh, that's an Idris. Okay.
That's an Idris.
Okay.
Now, what they also said is the copium, the little, I think they're the little lion dog things that roam around.
Yeah.
Yeah. You might be able to see it's very tiny on that screenshot. It's very small. That's the size comparison. And they sort of did a breakdown of this. So this is 250 copions long, or 47 Aegis Avenger Titans long, or 3.5 American football fields.
Nah.
That thing is a big boy. And is the... Do you know what the phrase this is? Oh, this is the biggest fauna in Star Citizen so far. That's so far...
Fauna?
So far... What? That scared me.
Fauna? Come again?
So, this fauna...
Don't like it.
This fauna has its different sizes as well. So it will start as a little juvenile, which will appear in a little cave. And then it will grow into an adult. So the juvenile is 5 meters. Then it's 50 meters. And then it jumps from 15 meters to 300 meters with the apex.
Just had a little growth spurt.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. Just, had growing pains, went to sleep, and then woke up and was massive.
Basically, the adults won't appear unless you kill enough of their children, their juveniles, and they'll come out and start attacking you because you're killing their offspring.
Oh, so we have to kill the little ones to get the big one?
You don't have to. You could go to the big... because obviously they live in caves to the juvenile and the adults, but the big apex lives out in the open world sand. That's where it is, because obviously it's too big for a cave. Yeah. So basically what they're showing here is you don't have to go for the apex. If your group isn't enough to take down a big one, you could go with an adult, or you could go with a juvenile if it's maybe just one of you or two of you or whatever. But it's also showing how these fauna are basically growing in the universe. And they also demonstrated this with this sort of illustration element of everything, not just that, but everything else, which was very cool. Yeah. So basically, they're getting a bit more creative with everything. They said that they're sort of basing stuff of what we know so far, but now they're trying to get with the weird stuff that we'd see in sci-fi, right? And that's what they want to sort of go towards. Not a fan, I'm guessing, Joe?
Watch me nope out of fighting them. If we're playing and one of them pops up, you're going to watch me point straight upwards and afterburners on. Sod that. Absolutely not.
Oh, dear.
Not dealing with that. Nope. It'll be nope. Just Joe coming back. Nope.
Just nope. Yeah, you've got to disturb the ground with a ground vehicle in order to attract one of those apexes anyway. So
that's fine. When you start driving around on the ground, I'll be like, "You're on your own, mate. See you later." I'm turning the ship around.
Now, right at the start of the podcast, I said we might not have time to talk about everything, and boy, was I right. So I might have time to talk about one more thing. So I'm going to skip all the way to the bottom, because to the star's my destination. Star Citizen 1.0, because I really want to talk about this. I might have time next month to talk about them. I'm just looking at time, that's all. So, yes, you heard me. Star Citizen 1.0. Okay, so version 1. This panel was all about them explaining what Star Citizen is, and what their endpoint is. What they think is 1.0. What their parameters are for a 1.0 release. And oh my god, is it glorious. So, they started off saying, what is Star Citizen? Well, it's a sandbox MMO that caters to all players. PvP, PvE, and non-combat. It does everything. So a 1.0 breakdown. What does that 1 mean? Improved performance, polished experience, finished gameplay loops, no more resets. The crowd cheered after that because, let's be honest, at this point we're sick of our money and stuff like that and rep being all reset after these patches.
Yeah, but that's what you get for playing an eternal beta.
Yes, it does. Anyway, the 0.0. What does the 0.0 mean? Continued development, higher quality benchmark, no more tier 0, and it is moment in time. So if there's something that has been mentioned in the past that isn't in 1.0, it'll come later. And they took us all the way back to the Kickstarter. And the Kickstarter said, oh, it'll be launching with 100 star systems. They're not going to be doing that. Because today's game is completely different. And I agree with them. I don't think it's worth them trying to do 100 star systems. Because I think the way that they've crafted one system, we're only going on to our second system almost in 4.0 very soon. And I think that's a plus. I don't know about you. I think that's definitely a quality over quantity thing.
Yeah. I don't know. For me, again, I have a very different mindset. As I say, I pledged in 2011. 2013. I am 11 years into this. A lot has been promised, not a lot has been delivered on from my perspective. You know, they've had 11 years and there's still, I mean, as far as I can tell, there are still ships, well, back when I pledged, that they were promising that still aren't out, let alone features and everything else. Yeah. And as we said earlier, they took away the custom hangers that they gave us as a thing. Okay, now they're reintroducing that. But that was a feature that we lost, that was something we were promised, we paid for. You know, as part of our pledge packages at the time. Yeah. So for me, we're not getting 100 star systems that they promised because they focused on making better of the systems that they have. But it's another thing that we were promised and we haven't got.
Yeah.
I know I'm very cynical about the game. I know I'm very cynical about all of the updates and everything that gets promised. I mean, I'm not going to lie, even the 2026 was it for Squadron 42, we said right at the start of this IAE summary. Even that, I'm not going to hold my breath on, because like when they said it was feature complete, was it last year?
Yeah, it's feature complete now, which means it's
well, they've told us that in the past as well, and then they've continued.
2 years of polish, but I don't think
that's what I mean. They've said before that it was feature complete, and then told us again that it's feature complete. So all I'm saying is I've been bitten probably once too many times with Star Citizen and Squadron 42, so I won't hold my breath until it's here. They're saying that quality over quantity, that's fine, but I'll believe it when I see it. I think for me, and I feel like there's probably a lot of people that have a similar feeling, if not exactly the same, that are very much in the when it happens, cool, then I'll enjoy it. But I'm not going to believe it until it's there. Because we've seen too many promises not be delivered on. But like I say, if it 1.0 comes out and it plays nicely and smoothly, and we've got the 4 or 5 star systems that obviously we've talked about that have been revealed today. Great, cool, but I just want to see it first. I want to see it, and I want it to be what they've promised, and I want them to deliver that. And then I'll be excited for it. And I'll be excited, and I'll jump in and I'll play with you all of the time.
I also agree with them where I don't think it is fair directly comparing the Kickstarter, what they promised back then to now, because it is really a different game. Even I know that from pledging in 2016. Comparing the gameplay and what was available in 2016 to now, completely different game. So,
Yeah,
I think updating everybody's expectations with this panel, I think is a good step in the direction of this is what to expect from Star Citizen from this point forward.
Unfortunately, I think you also need to consider it from the consumer perspective, where people pledged, and they pledged hundreds, if not thousands of pounds, dollars, whatever currency, buying into this game, supporting it. Obviously, back when, even before I did, I missed the original Kickstarter, but they raised millions of dollars from that to build this game, and features that were promised and people have bought into because they're like, oh, I like the sound of that. That's cool. I want to play that. Have then now been taken away or over-promised, under-delivered is kind of the mindset, or the sort of the thing that comes to mind. And I think that's what concerns me, and is the concern I hear from a lot of other people that pledged back then, is that, we put all this money into it and we've not got what we put money into.
Yeah.
Yes, cool. It's a different game, but that's not the game that people pledged to back in 2013, 12, whenever the Kickstarter was. I think that's certainly where my mind goes anyway, and why I'm so cynical about everything. Why I'm so cautious when they say, "Oh yeah, well this is coming." We will promise one thing, we got something else. It sits. It's a sour taste in my mouth, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm a little bit like, you say you can't compare it, but that's what I paid for. That's kind of where I'm at. But hey, look, I realise I'm being grouchy about it. It's what I do.
All I'm saying is, try to them adapting to the times of what the current game is. I think that's smart, other than anything. Yeah,
and look, if it comes out and it plays well and it's nice to play, then great, I'll be there cheering with you, because finally we got a game that we paid for. I'm just, like I say, until it's here, I'm a little bit, I paid for this one, I'm not getting it.
Yeah. Right, so what they're planning to do is they're going to be adding a soft framework to link everything together. So they're going to be adding a main story to help everything link together. As you need to know, some gameplay loops exists, and currently the game, as you would know, does not help you with that, does it?
No, not at all.
No, it doesn't.
No idea what I'm doing.
So the story will take the player through everything the game has to offer, understand the game and what's available. And they're going to introduce guilds and what professions are available. For example...
Sorry.
What?
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. Saying about adding a main story. Surely this should be something that Squadron 42 helps you with.
No, because it's completely different.
But it's built in the same universe, it's in the same engine. I'm not saying it's going to be exactly the same, because I understand that Star Citizen is a persistent universe, and it's obviously going to update and grow over time. But Squadron 42 should be teaching you the basics. It is the single player campaign.
It's the single player campaign, but it won't.
You should understand how to play the game and then go into that. And then you can learn about, like a dynamic economy and how to build things. And I don't know, I feel like the single player should be where you learn the basics. But that's just me.
Remember, this is also classified as an MMO, and loads of MMOs have this sort of story that does this as well. So that's what they're trying to do. Because I suppose not everyone will play Squadron 42, and they'll just go with Star Citizen. Because I bet you a lot of people don't even know that Squadron 42 is connected to Star Citizen, because they just don't know. it's not as publicised in general journalism than Star Citizen is. You say the word Star Citizen.
I suppose.
You say the word Star Citizen, and everyone has their pitchforks out. You mentioned Squadron 42. Oh, what's that? Oh, that looks cool. When IGN posted the Squadron 42 demo that we talked about right at the start, positive comments so far. If they posted a Star Citizen thing, it's pitchforks all around. You know.
Yeah, I suppose that's true.
So yeah, I don't mind having another separate story to link everything together, because it also is something that you can just jump in and out as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, they'll introduce guilds and what professions they are. For example, the United Resource Guilds has a few, like repair technician, breakdown engineer, fuel gatherer, and even within those roles, there's sub-roles. So what we know now, what they show with all these breakdowns and all these roles, there's even more out there. So this is going to be a narrative experience that's going to be NPC driven at your pace. As I said, you can jump in and out with it however you like. And they're also introducing what's called citizenship, which is offered for completing this story. Now, citizens are members of the population who have demonstrated a commitment to bettering the Empire and are given benefits that civilians don't have. And one of those benefits is land claim. Civilians will have restrictions instead.
Again, I don't know if they've revealed this or not. Obviously, you were saying about having these guilds that you can join, and you can. I'm looking at the screenshot. You can obviously advance through these and go down different routes, different careers, if you want to call it that. But I know from scrolling ahead, there's going to be different guilds. Can you join? What I'm asking basically is, can you join every single guild? Can you advance through every single tree?
Yes. So you don't necessarily.
You don't like lock into one thing.
That's more of an org thing. An org can represent a guild and have benefits from that. But all these guilds represent one area of work, basically. The United Resource Workers is all about industrial guild. So you might be able to see this is to do with refining and salvaging, crafting, mining. So each of these have a theme. And within a guild, there are factions, and these factions is where you get your missions and stuff from. This is what we have at the moment with the reputation system. So if you do a mercenary mission at the moment, it's for the mercenary guild. So you work for them, basically. Does that kind of answer your question?
A little bit. What I'm thinking of is there's a lot of completionists out there.
Yeah.
They will want to go through every career. Use the word career.
They tend to use the word profession in this, but yeah.
Okay. So they'll want to go for every profession with every guild. They want to unlock all of the things from it. If the citizenship gives you some nice little bonus, or even if it's just gear that it gives you, and you can only have one active bonus at a time, they'll want to go and collect all of the gear. They'll want to unlock everything that comes with it. You know, if it's a skin that you get for your ship, then they'll want to, say, take the industrial guild and then put the custom skin on their refinery ship. Do you know what I mean? Like, there are people that want to unlock absolutely everything you can in a game. And that's the thing that comes to mind is I'm like, can I go and get, not that I'm a completionist, because I can't, I can't do that much in a game. I'm not that good at games anyway. But there's a small part of me that's like, I want to go and collect all of the things. I want to have everything I can get, so that I can just... Basically, I can play Dress Up Simulator and dress my character in all the cool Gucci gear, and I can make my ship look great, and I can carry all the coolest guns, and, you know, I want to go and get everything, because then I've got options, and I can create what I want to create within the universe. I've got no restriction on that. That's just what comes to mind, but I'm sure there will be a way to do it.
Yeah, there's no sort of restriction, really. It just depends on what sort of ships, what types of ships, I suppose, you have. But I'll get into more of that later.
Sorry, I'm thinking ahead.
Yeah, so this entire 1.0 as well is going to include 5 star systems. We've mentioned 4. They revealed another. Terror is coming to Star Citizen.
Tom, it's Holy Terror. For the Emperor.
Yeah, so basically they want to start minimum with these 5-star systems. Whether these will be the only 5-star systems, but this main story is going to go around these 5-star systems. So these need to be complete, definitely, before 1.0 comes out. So we're maybe 70 years away, maybe 100, who knows? You know, we'll be dead by the time 1.0 comes out, let's be honest.
Yeah, it won't come out under Chris Roberts. It'll be great-grandchildren.
I'll have to make sure my counts in my will for somebody. Yes. Anyway, they're also adding location stories. So these are short NPC-driven missions. This is outside the main mission. It adds lore. It adds more lore. Basically, it's side quests is what this is. They didn't use the word side quest, but that's basically what it is.
Hey, can you get me 15 units of water? Yeah, fine. I'll do your fetch quest.
Right. Now they went more into guilds. You were ahead of yourself. Yes,
yeah,
you were.
sorry, I'll ask questions.
So, as a reminder, guilds act as a governing body for clusters of professions and factions with rep and progression system, which offer rewards the more you work for them, just like they work now. So, they're going to move missions more away from the mobiGlass, and they want us talking with people. The horror.
Oh.
The horror.
No, I like that.
I'm just saying that because I'm an introvert. I don't like talking to people.
No. I don't like talking to people either. But what I like about that is it's going to make the world feel more alive.
Yeah. So
everything. That's again. I know I don't play much. My experience is very limited. But all of my gameplay sessions feel very disconnected from the world around me.
Yeah,
I don't feel like I interact with it at all.
It's all through the mobiGlass. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're going to be adding factions for the. Sorry, no, that's the wrong way around. They're adding characters for these factions. They're not adding more. They might add more factions. They probably will.
Factions for the characters. Yeah.
Yeah. So characters for the factions, and some will be written. So some will write to you. Some will want to cold check in. Others you may need to meet in person. So it's sort of a combination of all three. Another one, which I'm probably going to be very, very much happy to do for, is Interstellar Transport Guild. This is the cargo guild, so you can be a recovery expert, hauler, transporter, trader, courier. So that's what they do.
Space Truck Simulator.
Basically, yes.
We had ETS. Now we have ATS. Now we have STS.
And they've also
Excellent.
got one for more the Daredevils. So they've got the Imperial Sports Federation. So this is for the racing people and the racing pilots, marksman, parkour, or racing driver, whatever. And so there's that. There's also the Academy of Science. That's more the sciencey stuff. So search and rescue, researcher, hunter, explorer, farmer, things like that.
Oh, sorry. No, I'm just looking at the search and rescue. I want to do search and rescue missions. I'll do them all day long.
Sorry, you just had the Pikachu shocked face on you there, and I was like,
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm just thinking of my Ninors on my Cutlass Red.
Yeah.
I can use my Ninors.
So
That'll make me happy.
those are the general profession guilds, but there are combat guilds. These work differently, because once you pledge allegiance to one, the other marks you as an enemy. So this is the different type of guild. So this is the Mercenary Guild, which is the Lawful Security Guild, or what's called the Council. This is the Criminal Guild. So you can either be a law-abiding citizen or a criminal.
See, that makes sense. I can see why one turns you against the other.
Yeah, and that is the only one where you'd pledge allegiance to one over the other. Everyone else is sort of kind of neutral to you, basically. Yeah. So there's stuff in here that you can do in one and maybe not the other, and whatever. Yeah.
I wonder if there'll be a way to redeem yourselves in the eyes of the other. I mean, I'd imagine you'd have to, say you became a criminal and you wanted to switch to Mercenary Guild. I wonder if you could leave them and then redeem yourselves in the eyes of the Mercenary Guild.
I don't know. The council might not like that. Might send a zillion hit squads after you. You know what criminal guilds are like.
Yeah, I'm just thinking
More
that,
of, oh yeah, once you're in this life, that's it. You cannot leave. Or it's your life.
I'm just thinking of, people that want to create a story with their characters.
Yeah.
They might do that. Might want to do that. I've lived on the streets. I've stolen. Now I'm making right, turning my life around.
Yeah. So they sort of demonstrated a lot of all that, and then they showed us sort of this big overall map of what you could expect from some of the guilds, and it's a lot because it does span around all these sort of planets and stuff. Whether they are connected to where they are on this screenshot, I don't know, but it's still a lot for them to sort of touch on in this main story. So it does seem like it's going to be basically the core progression.
I'm just looking at that kind of almost galaxy map.
Yeah.
Pyro's going to have a lot of planets.
Yeah, Pyro has a lot of planets, yeah.
That's going to be very busy.
And remember, Pyro's coming in next. Remember, that's the lawless system, so there's no UEE to protect you. You've got to do your own fighting. So, yeah. And going all the way back to base building, actually, materials, Pyro has the most high quality materials in there, by the way. So it's high risk, high reward in there. Yeah,
that makes sense.
Now I'm going a bit more up your street now because they talked a bit about economy and money and finance, the boring bits. But this is a sim.
Hello. How can I help?
So basically, the Star Sim is going to be powered by dynamic economy, which means an economy needs to credit in. It needs credit to flow in and out. So it needs to counter inflation. And that is where taxes and insurance come in. When you've pledged a ship, you probably noticed, this has 120 months of insurance, right? Or 20 months of insurance.
Well, no, because when I got my ships, I just got lifetime insurance.
Or lifetime insurance, yes. So, taxes. There is an inheritance tax as part of Death as a Spaceman. I mentioned that earlier. I'm not going to go into it, but it's part of it. There's also a base security tax for base building for planetary shield tech in the UEE system. Basically, in lawful systems, you pay a sum to protect your base with shields. So people can't just grief you, basically. Then we've got insurance. So you've got the medical insurance for hospital imprints. We already knew about this. And then obviously what we all know about, ship insurance. And this introduces death of a spaceship. So loss matters. And 90% of they did this stat, by the way, 90% of claims currently are for ships that haven't been destroyed, which I find is funny.
Jeez.
So ship insurance and the new warranty mechanic will have a level 1 which will be for chassis, level 2 is for chassis and component, level 3 is for chassis, component and decoration. So if you've decorated your ship nicely and you've got level 3, you'll get all that back. So insurance and warranty claim provides a new ship. Insurance only claim pays out credits based on where. All ships bought on the pledge store have permanent warranty plus appropriate insurance. So you don't need to worry about warranty if you've bought a ship with money. Real money.
If they have a permanent warranty, if I've bought it with real money, I just get it replaced.
Basically, yeah.
Or I can just get it replaced.
It will have permanent warranty and whatever insurance you bought it with. So if you have LTI, you'll have LTI with it, yeah.
I'm pretty sure I'll check later, but I'm pretty sure mine all had lifetime insurance.
So other ships require transferable warranty, but these are rare. And so these can be earned in game and can be applied to any ship you own, but has a cooldown. And claim timers are going to be proportional to crafting time, more beneficial to retrieve your ship, and therefore you'll get a shuttle ship to get back to. It's basically a courtesy car. So you claim the shuttle for free. Once you're in your ship, the shuttle will automatically return home. Small start ships will be readily available, but large capital ships will obviously take longer. So that's the sort of financial aspects of it. It's not that complex. It's basically, if you die, there's some tax with it. If you get rid of your spaceship and destroy it, you've got to pay a little bit for it, unless you've got warranty and whatever. I think that's fine for a game that's a space sim MMO.
Yeah, I have to deal with tax stuff.
I know.
In my day job. I don't want to deal with taxes. Don't do that to me. Life is sad enough as it is. Game.
Anyway, this is all because they want a dynamic economy. Okay.
Yeah, but
right. Okay. They moved on and said, okay, we want cyclical. A cycle of gameplay loops. A circle of gameplay loops. I've written down a word I can't pronounce, which is very bad.
Cyclical.
Whatever. An example. Let's say you wanted a Hornet. You can't buy this ship. It's a military ship. You're going to have to craft it. So you're going to need to get a fabrication hangar blueprint. Which you very much want. Yes. But let's say you have a MISC Prospector, which is a mining ship. You'll have to earn one of those blueprints for a minor mission with the United Resource Workers Guild. Then you buy a plot of land in Stanton and then build the fabrication hangar. Then you need a Hornet blueprint, so you'll need a mercenary rep, so therefore you need a combat ship. So you do more minor missions to get the credits to buy a Constellated Outland Mustang from the dealership. You'll then start combat pilot missions for the Mercenary Guild, which earns you the blueprints. You'll then need resources, so you'll go back to your prospector and mine those resources. And that completes that loop. And that gives you a purpose. So the purpose being credits, rep, resources, blueprints, crafting, and more importantly, crafting other ships to enjoy other professions. And this is the core of Star Citizen 1.0. That sort of loop that they sort of demonstrated on the map as well. With all the different ships and stuff. There's a lot, as you might be able to see.
Yeah.
Then they talked about endgame content. What about the people that are like me or other people that have been playing Star Citizen for a while? Well, they want to do open world content, so missions, group missions, and server-wide events for endgame players. They want to do instant content, so fleet battles, military blueprints, strategy-based missions, FPS operations. What?
Sorry, I just really like the sound of fleet battles.
yeah.
That is what will draw me back in.
They also want to do dynamic content, so powered by the Star Sim, tracks player activity, dynamic spawn. The example that they gave was, let's say you were on a cargo mission. It will then maybe spawn some pirates to try and raid you. Stuff like that.
What do you do that for?
You can make it harder. That's why.
Yes.
So, they also said, well, that's kind of PvE, but what about PvP? So they talked about ownership. So they said, ships and high-value items are auto-assigned to you. And you can mark ships as stolen, which activates a dead man's ship. But what if you want to be a dirty crime boy and do some ship piracy? What are your options? You can salvage it, you can dismantle it at a fabrication hangar, and you can tow it back to that fabrication hangar. Or you could pay for a new title deed, but you need a high enough rep with the Council Guild in order to do that. So you would have to be affiliated with the Council Guild to do that. Now, if in a lawful system, you'll need to find a transient jump tunnel, as most of the major points of interest will have custom security which will scan you and be like, that's stolen, that ain't yours. Yeah.
Cracked beam.
Yeah. Now, Pyro system is a lawless system, but also has high quality resources. As I mentioned earlier, high risk, high reward. And therefore, base raiding will become a new form of PvP, with combined arms. Defending players can add defenses like turrets and walls. There are ground shields, localized version of the planetary shield used in lawful systems. So you can't just turn up and drop a Moab on it. It won't work, okay? So these shields can be disabled. You can punch through on foot and then take it down. Or you can also do a ground assault for what's inside. Or alternatively, you can then bring in your Moab and level it to the ground if you want to. But they want you to do more. They did a sort of history lesson of SEAL defense tech and tokens program. And this is where station warfare comes in, based upon the SEAL tech. So orgs can take ownership of these structures, the SEAL network stuff, to gain access to planetary shield tech, which would normally make their bases invulnerable. So this is still on a token program, so there isn't enough to go around. To gain tokens, you need to assault a location and then deposit resources to power the network. And this starts at shield bases and ends at the shield core. And each structure occupied will then acquire SEAL tokens over time, and then purchase these with tokens for shield protection. But as these are limited, the system auto-selects the orgs with the highest bids across all server shards. So you need to be the best of all the orgs, basically. Meaning that for 1 week, certain orgs will have that shield protection. You're basically the leader of the system. But you're also fighting for a purpose where you need to look up. Because you get to build player space stations.
That I like.
I was wondering what your reaction would be to that, because this is the thing
I want.
This is the thing I was hoping you hadn't seen yet, because oh my, when they unleash this, oh.
Yeah, I haven't seen this, but I want one because I basically want to build one and call it Fleet HQ. That's it. That's where my fleet base is from. No one's touching me in my space station.
So this is the base of operations for system-wide org activities and will require vast quantities of resources and materials, so it's a large time investment. Obviously this might be for the more bigger orgs, but me and David said to ourselves after this, we said, we're going to try this anyway. Even if there's two of us, we're going to try and build one anyway.
No, I'm joining you for that. I'm down.
Yeah.
I'll ship resources in my little freelancer.
Now, you remember the Pioneer from earlier?
Yes.
This thing can only build the supply bay. So you'll be required to have a Pioneer to start with the supply bay. And this is where the space station starts. And then this supply bay has a cargo grid which consumes resources, which needs to be topped up over time. So it shows a sort of time lapse of you bringing it to there, and it will consume it and it will start building it. And this has automated construction drones. Now, unlike the ground drones, which I said one drone did one thing, these are several drones that are used at once to create the base. So they work a little bit differently. And once the station is built, the supply base integrates into the station itself. And therefore, you have the sort of station module core, which I'll whack up on screen for those on YouTube. And it looks pretty cool. So the bridge is where all further construction can be managed, because this isn't it. There is more. So, you can monitor the status of the entire station on the bridge. There are areas to set permissions. There is even a radar station to monitor outside the base. And there's also a central transit network. Now, this is the same for every single base, by the way. The internal layout is the same for everybody. But how you customize that, I suppose, inside is up to you. This physically connects to the entire station. No more magic elevators. It's physically connected everything. And every station will have a central lobby observation deck, and you can use the decorator mode to customize it how you want. And this is a 1-to-1 interior layout matching the exterior. which is also very cool.
Ooh.
So the lower
Okay.
decks will have engineering. It will also have a hangar deck, and this comes with one large hangar with 2 docking collars, and has space for 2 medium hangars. And there's an internal road system, so you can drive from one hangar to another, which is very
To
cool.
be fair, with the size of it, I feel like you will need to.
Yeah, because remember, this is a space station.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's freight elevators, and there's space for empty modules as well. There are entry and exit points. There's an observation deck for a control room, and there's control over freight elevators and vehicle elevators. Which means, if you've got an incoming freight ship, you can get all the cargo ready for it to be loaded on. And all of this that I've talked about so far, this already comes with the station at this point. This is already there. But you will have bulkhead connectors, which allows you to expand and comes in tiers 1 to 3. And there will be an interior build mode, and just like base building and crafting, these will take time to build. But once built, you can rename the rooms and will reflect on the station's minimap. So we could have a room called Joe's Personal Space, and it will appear on the minimap.
Nice. I like that.
And these rooms can be how you want, or tailored rooms where the theme is already set for you. So there's what they gave examples was a mess hall, infirmary, habs, generator room, and there's also shop modules as well, so you could have shops in there as well.
Okay.
That's just the interior. The exterior have minor hardpoints, and you can customize these with modules. These things are like gas harvesters, shields, or turrets. And then you've got major hardpoints, and these have 2 hardpoint connectors. So there are wing additions. So there's the cargo wing for all your cargo needs. There's the refinery wing. You could have both, in fact. You could take your cargo, you could buy some cargo if you want to do that's raw materials, and then refine it in the refinery ring. Just an idea. There's also a hangar wing for more hangars. And everything is connected via wing connector struts, which is internally traversal. And you can earn tints for the station. So you can apply decals like the org logo. If you've got your own org logo, you can place that on there as well and colour it how you want, which is...
Oh, okay.
There's that extra stuff.
Oh, so if you design your org logo and put it on the website, say,
Yeah.
you can then basically paint that onto your station in game.
Yes.
That's really cool. I do like that.
I think that's going to be... You know, I mentioned about base building customization. I think that's going to be the same for that as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, so you can... Because, like, what's in my mind at the moment is, you know, most games you play, if you create a group in it, you're limited to whatever symbols the game gives you.
Yeah.
But with this, with it trying to integrate the website into the game, whatever you upload as your organisation's logo,
Yeah.
you can then spray onto your station or as you say, your base. That's really cool. I do like that.
Now, that's not the only station upgrades. There are 2 unique base expansion points. There's one on the top and one on the underside. The one on the top is the crow's nest, and it's exactly what you think it is. And it's just this really tall tower, and you can customize this area. And the underside is a flight deck, which comes with additional 3 major hardpoints, and this is ideal for fighters and rapid response.
Ooh.
And why would you want a rapid response ideal for fighters? Because your station can be a target for others. Now, your station
So
itself...
someone attacks you.
The station itself is very hard to damage. They will need to punch a hole to get inside. They'll have to hack freight elevators or bulkheads to get in, and controlling the bridge means access to storage, which is unhackable usually. And therefore, there are also station defenses internally. There are blast doors, turrets, which are both anti-vehicle and anti-personnel. The example they gave was they recommend dropping in a tank to help you assault a station.
So basically what I'm seeing is you're going to have to blast your way into one of the, say, medium hangars.
Yeah.
Drop your tank and your troops and fight for every inch of ground in there.
Yeah. And this is one of the
Wow.
end game goals and base of operations. But there is another unique module. A dry dock.
Ooh.
So this has a dedicated observation room with crafting rooms. It's got a transit tram which runs alongside the arms, and you can craft capital ships with this, like the Bengal. And I put a picture of the Bengal right there.
Oh, Tom, you have no idea how much I need that.
This thing blew my mind, particularly when I had a look at their little dry dock cinematic, which
I'll watch in a second.
Cool.
I'm just catching up on some of the others. But Tom, I need that more than I need both of my legs.
Yeah, there's two legs there. There's two arms there.
Yeah, the legs are spares. I can sit here and that's fine. I don't need them, but I need the dry dock so I can build capital ships.
Yeah, because when they did the reveal, it was like, I didn't initially recognize it at first, but others were like, oh my god, that's the Bengal. We can craft a Bengal. Which, by the way, if you don't know, that's the fleet carrier.
Yeah. So the one in Squadron 42, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
all the cinematics that they've done with all the fighters launching. Yeah. Yeah, that thing is this magnificent. So all of this goes back to the three types of players: the PvP, the PvE, and the non-combat. So not only is it applicable to all three, but all three are connected cohesively. So each player supports each other. So Star Citizen is a universe that caters to all players. And my mind was blown throughout the entire CitizenCon, and that sort of concludes, I suppose, for today. For today's podcast. Thoughts, Joe?
Well, I do have one final thought. Because you said it's a universe that caters for all players, but my one concern is a lot of this sounds like a lot of collaborative efforts.
Yeah.
And if you're the kind of person who just jumps on and plays some games on their own, or you don't have friends that play or are interested in Star Citizen, who do you play with?
Yeah, I suppose that goes into the party finder in a social universe bit where you can find other players. But I suppose not everyone wants to. That's what I mean. That social
people who are not averse to social interaction, but are maybe intimidated by it, or don't feel comfortable interacting with people they don't know. Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I get a little bit like that sometimes when I join a community.
Yeah,
I'm a bit like, I don't know these people. I'm just gonna get to myself and do my own thing. I feel like it'd be difficult for those kinds of people.
The thing is, the space station stuff, remember, this is endgame stuff. This is past the story. This is past all that. This is a huge endeavour to do as well. And I suppose,
you're absolutely right.
I suppose those players would find joy in the base building, because that's just a small version of basically the space station. Space station's cool. We all get that, yeah. But for what for what you're saying, I think what's more applicable for a smaller group would be the base building more than anything. But that's not to say...
I suppose you're right, because you can, like people like myself who want to fly big ships, you can still build them on the ground.
Yeah.
So you can still go about it that route, I suppose. That's
not to say, you know, it does mean that your group does need to sort of have... You can't really specialise in one thing. You have to do a lot of all the professions a bit. Really, spread them all out in order for you to gather resources and craft stuff and get to the point where you can maybe start tackling a space station. But yeah, I think I know I shouldn't, but when it comes to CitizenCon, I'm always filled with hopium because all this blows my mind every year. I'm like, this looks fantastic. I know this is nowhere near completed. And I'm happy, you know, playing the game as it is right now. I'm looking forward to maybe Pyro. I'm maybe going to dip my... What me and David said, we said, we're going to go into Pyro, right? And then we're going to jump right back because lawless system, no thank you. To be fair, I am looking forward to a new system being added because it means the jump gates and stuff like that and the jump points. But yeah, CitizenCon is all about looking far into the future, what they're working on and what they're showing off and all the tech that they're producing, and it does look good always. But I know other people's opinions about it. I know there is an asterisk of don't expect this in the next year because it's not. You know, they didn't give any time frames this year at all. I don't know if that's a caution thing or they just don't know. Or, I mean, to be fair, that last panel was just setting the tone of what Star Citizen 1.0 is meant to look like. But the fact that they're thinking about 1.0, I think, is a good thing overall. I know you're a bit grumpy about it, let's say, but.
No, that's totally fair. Yeah, I think it's probably still at least a few years away.
Yeah.
But you know, I love a space game. I love a sci-fi setting. Of course, I'm excited about all of this. I want to see it. I just, you know, like I said, I've waited 11 years. I want to see it soon.
Yeah, I mean, it's baby steps. I think the next thing that's probably more realistic that we're going to be seeing is base building. From what they showed, it doesn't look that far away. I'm going to estimate maybe 2 years away maximum. We might be able to get some sort of it, or even just crafting. I don't know if they'll put crafting and base building in together, or they'll just do crafting. They could do a 2-stage thing. Maybe next year, something, or maybe not. You know.
Well, I just had a thought. Even with it coming in, 1.0, the release of 1.0 will be the final reset.
Yeah.
But it will be a reset. So people are going to have to build up the credits again to get the ships, to unlock the skills, to start crafting the components they need to build bases, to build space stations, to build ships, to get the bigger ships. Yeah. It's going to be a while before we see, even if 1.0 came soon, it'll be a while before we see people building the first space station.
Yeah, because that's a good point. Funds haven't been reset for a long time now, and everyone.
But they will be for 1.0.
4.0, yes.
But sorry, for the big release, the 1.0 release.
Oh yeah, 1.0. 100%. But
it's going to reset everything.
People are also speculating the latest reset is probably going to be 4.0 as well, because we've got the introduction of Pyro and that system as well. But yeah, I agree. People are going to have to grind everything all the way back up again. But I don't see that as a bad thing, because there's this entire story that you need to go through anyway. I
agree with you.
Yeah.
Certainly when they go live with the air quotes proper Persistent Universe, because obviously at the moment it's like a beta version of it, isn't it?
Yeah. So
when they go live with the actual Persistent Universe, you need to put everyone back on a level playing field. Sure, some people will be further advanced because they've paid for more expensive packages.
Yeah.
Or paid for the ships, because you can obviously get them standalone now. That's fine. But by and large, 90% of the people playing are going to be starting from more or less nothing.
Yeah.
Or even like us, who have got a few ships, we're still not going to be anywhere near what we need to get some of these bigger things going. So it's going to take a while before we see those things, which is good. It's good because it would be a little bit weird if we got the main release and then suddenly 4 space stations popped out.
Yeah.
And had a whole fleet of capital ships docked around it. That would be a bit strange. But
let's be honest, there's going to be an org out there that's going to want to speed run that as quickly as possible.
100%. I think it's going to be a source of pride for the group that gets the first space station.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to wear that badge proudly. But no, it is exciting. I will agree with you on that. As much as I am grumpy about it and cautious and cynical about everything that comes out, I am excited, and I mean, I love the look of this space station. I can't wait to be walking around a space station that we've all built together.
And it's ours.
We own.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's really cool. But,
yeah.
No, I'm excited to see more of this. I'm excited to play a little bit with you as well. I know we keep talking about it, but this CitizenCon is going to be the perfect. No, it's not CitizenCon.
This is IAE.
IAE, that's the word.
What we've been talking about is CitizenCon. Yeah.
But no, I'm going to be excited to do IAE with you and get to know a little bit more of the game and maybe start my own journey in it a little bit now.
Yeah.
That'd be quite cool.
Yeah, I mean, I can get past the bugs and the glitches and stuff like that. I can easily get past that. That's fine. I get why some people are cynical and judge the game, and you know, I understand that. But because I can get past all those bugs and stuff, I'm quite happy to play Star Citizen on a regular basis. Really.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, whatever your opinion is on Star Citizen, I hope you've enjoyed our sort of half deep dive into CitizenCon 2954.
There's so much more he wanted to talk about.
There is a couple more bloody panels I wanted to talk about, but I might have to wait till next month. I might be able to squeeze one or two in, maybe. We'll see. We'll see. But yeah, I definitely wanted your thoughts and your opinions and your reaction to the space stations, because I was thinking he's probably not seen this, and I think he's gonna like this.
I love the space station.
Because I think it's gonna blow his mind.
I love the space station, and whoever we end up building it with, I assume with some of your friends.
Yeah. We
need to have a dry dock. We need to have the rapid deployment hangar on the bottom so I can fly through it. It's really cool. I will be there for that, definitely.
Yeah. Right, so if you have enjoyed today's podcast, you can give us a follow. You can give us a rating and a review on the podcasting platform of your choice. I know this has been a bit longer one. We've done a couple of longer ones here and there, 1 or 2 times. This is one of those things. Our next podcast is a little bit earlier because it's Christmas. The last Wednesday is actually a Christmas Day. We're not posting on Christmas Day. We're doing a week early, 18th of December.
This podcast?
Didn't we name that last year?
Yeah, I think we did. You're right. I'll have to come up with a new name.
You're going to have to come up with a new one. Yeah. You can stay up to date with the podcast by following our socials. It can be found on Instagram, YouTube. You can just search Fandoms Podcast because the SEO is so good. And we can both be found on Discord, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. Links are in the description. I'm under Maverick RNG, Joe's under FamilarForce, and we'll see you in the next one.
On the Fandoms Edge.